that real quickly. Testing 1, 2, 3. All right, I'm gonna have to be creative here for a second. I forgot to get a mic on. Sorry about that. Hi, my name's Dan. Thank you for joining me today. And this is, in fact, Daily Art Adventure number 603. This is a big project. It's going to take me a while, as you can imagine. And I only have a few minutes to work right this afternoon, because in a few minutes the sun is going to come over the top of this building, and at that time all painting is over. So let me tell you a little bit about what I've got going on here. There's a lot to say, and I'll try not to talk it to death. This is sadly a redo of a mural that I did about 3 years ago. The fundamental challenge of this project is that this mural, it's not really mural, but anyway, 6 by 10 foot painting. It's just a big painting, not a mural. It's on the outside of a house, on a 3rd-story patio. Nice townhouse in downtown LA. And it's facing full afternoon sun every day. There is no shade, no tree, nothing. Just full sun behind us. So the first time I did this mural, I got too tricky and got into trouble. I used suspended silicate paint. Probably not many of you know what that is, and I forget the name of it right now. Bindfong? Maybe it was Bindfong, I can't remember. Anyway, it was a, and I should be hearing myself now, and I'm not. That makes me nervous. Come on. Pardon me, just a minute. Let's try to straighten this out. Anyway, the substrate upon which I painted 3 years ago did not succeed. Tragic story. I'll talk more about that some other time, perhaps, when I'm wearing a microphone. So anyway, this is a redo. I am now painting on hardy plank board. Hardy plank is a concrete product used for putting siding on houses. But it has a thin primer on it, so it's not bare naked concrete. That would have made my job simpler. Instead, it's a primer. It's a concrete product with a primer on it. Anyway, so then I went ahead and yesterday painted with an exterior house paint, flat white. I did a layer of flat white paint on top of the primed hardy plank. I sure hope you're hearing me. Let me see if I've got any indication that anybody's watching or listening. I have a whole fistful of technical issues happening at me right now. Forgive me, let me try to fix them again. Pardon me, I am so sorry for this technical issue. Still trying, hang on. Let's try that. Nope, nope. Again, sorry for the troubles here. Well, it does say that some of you are listening, so are watching, so I will continue. Any chats? I can't see your chats for some reason. My monitor is not functioning here. Anyway, I used a grid yesterday afternoon and this morning and drew out the image, as you can see, very roughly. With a watercolor pencil. And now I'm doing my normal abstract. I can almost reach the top of this painting. Not quite. Let me show you photograph from which I'm working. Here's my, this is a composite of earlier paintings, including this earlier one. There's another painting, and here's a photograph. So that's essentially, those three images are the three that I'm working toward. And I expect the bottom of this painting to be very, very warm. Therefore, I'm putting very cool abstract images, shapes underneath it. So this time around, I'm using GAC. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Yes, I am using GAC, but I'm using acrylic paints with GAC 200 as a medium, which is an outdoor mural. It's supposed to make the paints more stable for outdoor painting. Alright, that's enough color. The next thing I'm going to do, and this has become, just in recent months, very recent months, this next thing has become a very important step in this process. Which is incorporating, adding, including white in the abstract long time, when I did these abstract things, I only did color and left it at that. And then I discovered, oh, wait a minute, I'm missing a big opportunity for much heightened interest by doing white very often on top of the very strokes that I just put down. In other words, carving into my initial strokes. With opaque white. Basically all I'm going to do in this first broadcast. Alright, it's a glorious mess, isn't it? I like it. I think, though, I'm actually going to go back and do some more yellow. Just because I'm liking the way the yellow is looking. Golden Acrylic Paints Company has published a list of their best colors to be used outdoors, and I followed that list very carefully, which means in a way I'm working with a slightly limited palette. Because there's several colors that, according to them, are not the best for outdoors. They had an A list, a B list, and a C list, if you know what I mean. They said these are the best, these are okay, these are not. So I didn't go below their best. But for instance, they don't have a ultramarine blue that does well outdoors. So that's quite significant for me, because ultramarine blue is one of my favorite colors. And several others that they don't have. No violet, no purple at all. That's interesting. Everything about a big painting, of course, takes longer. Everything takes longer, of course. It's just bigger, including even just doing the abstract swooshes, as I call them. So once again, I used a grid to get my image, to transfer my image onto this large canvas. I find very often when you're painting this large, it just is good business just to go ahead and do a grid, even though it's not my preference. Normally, I like starting with a big mess. But you can just waste so much time drawing, spend so much time drawing, trying to get it right. When if you just use a grid, you can save a lot of time. On this particular job, saving time is a major concern, major value. The danger, of course, the danger of putting a drawing on a canvas, like the old traditional old oil painters like my dad used to do a charcoal sketch, right? And there's no doubt that many geniuses can work that way with an underdrawing in charcoal. But for every one genius who can make that work, there's a million not quite geniuses who can't. Maybe even including me. So what I am doing here, besides creating just a lively, energetic underpainting, besides that, in this case, I am consciously combating the impulse to color in the lines. The danger, the great danger of, I think that's good enough, the great danger of putting lines on a painting is that once there are lines there, you are gravely tempted to color in the lines, right? So, in fact, my abstract underpainting in this case serves two purposes. Number one, gives me a lively bit of color and chaos underneath the painting like I always do. But number two, it mitigates against, it combats the temptation to color in the lines. Because I just colored outside the lines. I don't know if you noticed or not. And the good news is, now when I come back this evening, and I'll broadcast this evening again, the good news is, even though I've done a whole bunch of mess on top, I can still see my drawing. There's very few places where it's completely obliterated, and I can easily put the pieces back together. So again, in this case, doing the chaos on top of the drawing is very important because it helps go against that impulse we all have of once you have lines on the canvas, you are gravely tempted. Don't tell me you're not. You're gravely tempted to color in the lines. So, good reason for doing an abstract. I have here a Masterson Stay Wet palette. If you're an acrylic painter, if you call yourself an acrylic painter and you don't have a Stay Wet palette, I don't know what you're doing. Sorry, you're really ignorant. If you're an acrylic painter, you absolutely need, and you need to use the right way, a Stay Wet palette. All right, that's all I'm going to say about that. As you can see, I've got this much room before I'm in the sun, and I can't. First of all, I don't want my skin in the sun. Secondly, and I tried yesterday. I got here when the sun was going down, and it was still there was way too much, and I was doing the lines, just the grid, yesterday evening, and it was just blinding, painful to the eyes. So you absolutely cannot paint here for the rest of the afternoon. So the next time I can come back and paint is going to be about 6 o'clock, or maybe more like 6:30 this evening. Then of course I only have an hour, hour and a half to paint. Whoops, can you hear me? Before I have to pack up. Well, I'm going to end this broadcast and all of its, oh my goodness. And I'm going to end this and all of my irritating technical issues that I've got going right now. And I look forward to having you back this evening when I'll do Daily Adventure 603 part scene 2. How about that? All right. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.